This week on Not Another Shooting Show.
Using all that logic and reasoning and profanity.
There's pistol shooting and more pistol shooting, but everything else is fake.
Masad Ayub says that's bad to do.
That's not a thing.
We just hired you to look scary and not do anything. He's Jeff King. I'm Andy Erickson. This is Not Another Shooting Show. We go to Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, as a matter of fact, where a man was treated at a hospital early Thursday for a self-inflicted gunshot wound he suffered during an incident at an apartment building last Wednesday night. Police were dispatched to the Riverstone Apartments. They located a 46-year-old man who was suffering from a gunshot wound. Officers arrived to hear a fire alarm, which had prompted residents to become distressed and leave the large building. According to a lieutenant, the preliminary investigation indicates that the man used a rock to damage the building, triggering the alarm. So, I guess he couldn't call 911, so he did damage to the building and 911 showed up. Anyway, the guy who got himself shot, where is it? Oh, he was not named, but the man was prohibited from possessing firearms, and the police department's violent offender unit was assigned to deal with the investigation. So that's one way to call 911, I guess. Set off the fire alarm somehow?
Yeah, just get a big rock.
That's how John McClane did it.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Okay, face Mike.
Sorry.
Thank you. If you want to do a podcast someday, kids, let me tell you, here's how you don't use a microphone. Move it 2 feet away from you and then try to do a whole show. It sounds like shit. That is all. There's a lot of podcasts that have been on a long time doing it that way. Like, quit it. All right. Also, I have a story from Jamaica, man. I think this was Kingston. I'm reopening the link. I accidentally closed it when I went to read it. I was clicking on the tab and I closed it. Oops. A member of the Jamaica Defense Force, the JDF, was rushed to a hospital on October 8th after his rifle reportedly discharged, hitting him. The incident happened outside the Spanish Town police station in Spanish Town. The soldier was mounting a patrol vehicle when the accident occurred. He was rushed to the hospital, condition unknown.
Someone had their finger on the trigger.
Yeah.
Guarantee it was, what do they call it? Sympathetic squeeze?
There's a video I show in my concealed carry class where there's this bank robbery suspect in Miami Beach, and he's shirtless and he's got a barber's razor, like a straight razor. He literally ran through a barber shop trying to get away.
Okay.
And grabbed a straight razor off one of the barber tables. And ends up out on the street, and he's completely surrounded by cops. And one of the officers fires a taser, and it goes pop, and 1/2 second later, I know because I measured it in a video editor, a half second later, the one guy with a rifle goes bang, bang, kills the guy because he hears the pop.
Yep.
And it was a half second later. There's no way his safety was on. There's no way his finger was not on the trigger. And no one else fired. There's actually a woman in the foreground of the video. She also had her gun drawn, pointed at the guy. And before he even hits the ground, she's putting her gun back in the holster. It's crazy video.
Interesting.
Yeah. Not a justified use of force for sure. Anyway, oops, I'm in the wrong rundown. Whoopsies. Okay, moving on. By the way, this is Not Another Shooting Show. We have a Patreon. Thank you so much if you are a Patreon subscriber. If you're not, it's only $3.57 a month. You can be the 69th, dude, because we have 68 right now. $3.57 a month. You get an extra episode every single week. Some shows you only have to pay $1, but you just get extra stories about Tom cooking food. I'm teasing the Paracast right now. We charge a little more, but you get a whole freaking episode, not just like 10 minutes of randomness. So patreon.com/not another shooting show, $3.57 a month. You get an extra episode. Our Reddit, we have a lot of fun in there. We're up over 150. What did I see it at? 154? Yes, 154. Reddit.com/r/NASS for not another shooting show. We have a good time in there. It's a lot of fun. All right. Now, the last Wednesday's episode, I said, hey, I'm going to be a masterclass shooter when the numbers run on Wednesday.
I remember that.
You remember that?
I remember that you were going to join the.
I was going to join the ranks of the masterclass shooters, not in rimfire open pistol steel challenge. And then I was actually pulling. I forgot to check when I woke up, and I'm literally pulling into the parking lot at work, and I'm like, oh, the numbers ran. I'm going to go look. And it still said A. I'm like, oh, they didn't run it. And then I look at the percentage. God damn it. The percentage is 84.9978%.
So a literal rounding error.
No, it wasn't even a rounding error. I transposed a 4 in the. Okay, so it was, what classifier was it? It was the almost GM run I shot last weekend. I'm just gonna go to it because it was a 4 and a 2. When I did it in my little Google spreadsheet, I did it as a something 4, and it was actually 2. So It's basically a difference of 0.02% is the difference between me making master and not. And I looked at it like, here's the funny thing. I'm about to write an email to Rick Brotzel, the IT guy for USPSA, and go, what the fuck is wrong with the math on the website? And I'm like, wait a minute. Let's check the numbers. Let's make sure I wrote down the right numbers.
Yep.
And then when I went back and I looked at them, and I get to that one, I had written down 94 point. I can't remember what the hell it was. Oh, wait a minute. No, this looks like. Anyway, basically, I had a 0.42 instead of a point, whatever it was, and yeah, my percentage is not quite 85. So you know what this means, Jeff?
What does this mean?
It means there's going to be a classifier at the night match.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll help.
And here's the thing, though. All I have to do is shoot a classifier better than 76.6199.
So are you going to pull out was it the 23s that were easy to overcome, or was it 22s?
Honestly,
you're going to look into it?
Stand-and shoots are pretty. They're in my wheelhouse, even if they're an old one. I mean, I'm not going to do El Prez because that one is really shot
to
hell. But maybe the 23. I don't know. I don't know. But there's going to be. All I got to do is shoot a 77%, and I got it. Here's the one thing I am pretty proud of, though. My last 6 classifiers are literally the 6 that count.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, literally, the last 6 classifiers I've shot are the 6 that are my classification. I'm not hanging on to one from 3 months ago that's still part of my score. So I'm pretty proud of that. But the funny part is my percentage is 84.9978. I'm 0.22% away from master. Or no, sorry.
002.
0022% away from master. I was pretty sure that was going to put me at number 1 in A class in the country, and it did. So if you look at the top 20 on the USPSA website, I am number 1 A class limited optics. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm not proud of that at all, really.
No,
but
no.
This is a participation ribbon. This is what this is.
I'm the best scrub class. Woo, woo.
Yeah.
You're the guy
class,
with the.
I will argue, even if I make GM, I will argue A class is not scrub class.
I agree, but you are the guy in the meme shaking the champagne and like launching it, and like there's like 4 other dudes on the podium. Like, fuck are you doing?
Dude, I was so pissed.
I know. I know. I bet.
I was so mad at myself for because if I had just missed when I did the math originally, oh, son of a bitch, I just missed. No big deal. But I literally was talking about it on the podcast.
Yep.
When the numbers run, I'm going to be an M. Guess what, fucker? You're not an M.
I learned the hard way. I don't talk shit until the thing happens, because the second I talk shit is when everything goes to hell. So I've been there before.
It's way more fun to talk shit in advance because it gives us content for the show. We would not even have this bit to talk about.
True.
It would be way less interesting if I hadn't already said, I'm going to be a master, and then I wasn't a master. Anyway, it's maddening. Good news is, though, I could still sandbag in production if I wanted to. Because I would only be B class in production. So,
hell yeah.
Yeah. Or limited, too, I guess. I do have a limited. I'm actually B class, though, in limited. That's my percentage. And I'm actually B class in production. That is my percentage. But anyway, that comes up every now and then. What do you think of the classification system being a running percentage?
So I'm
very torn. I completely agree with both sides of that argument.
I do as well. Because people, while I do think there are classifiers that need to be removed, and I do think there are people that try to game the system, I also go to majors and find that most people shoot within 5% of their classification. And there's not very many B class dudes that are finishing with the GMs. And you'll sometimes have a GM finish with the Bs who's either a legacy GM, like a 2017 GM.
Yeah.
Or gun died on the 9th out of 11 stages, so they didn't shoot the last 2. And
or you just have a really bad match.
Right.
That also happens sometimes.
Yeah, and so it's it's very rare that some C class dude comes out of nowhere and is hey, I'm competing with the GMs today. So I think the system works as best as it can. And some of the other ideas, I'm not against them. It just kind of comes down to like because because when you're talking about the rolling numbers, you're talking about the what's the guy's name that puts it together? Is that not Jay Mars?
Yeah, he does some analytic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I think it's good, but one of the things, and like my mindset's different than a lot of people's, is that like people chase the number or the letter, or in the fight world, the color of the belt, not the skill. And so like you can show up to these stages and zero hero them, and the system kind of just goes, yeah, okay, whatever, you're a GM. And then you go to a major match and you shoot with the B class guys, and you're like, well, shit.
Yeah. I mean, it also depends on who's there, because we all know there's GMs and then there's that other echelon of GM.
Yep.
You know, so when I shoot against normal GMs, the not Nils Jonasons of the world,
right?
Usually my percentage matches all the rest of the GMs. You know, yeah. I'm currently, at the time I shot Free State, I was an unclassified shooter, but I ended up classifying as A class, and I shot. She's only an M, really? She should be a GM. Justine Williams won the match. She beat a GM.
I think that's going to be one of those, like, she's a GM and everything else, and an M in whatever division she shot. Yeah,
well, but anyway, so I shot 78. What did I shoot? 82% of Justine Williams, a legit GM.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I pretty much shot my classification. You know,
yeah.
Now, when I have shot matches that Ben Steger was at, I did not shoot my classification because he ruined the bell curve. because he beat everybody by so much that
Right.
it just wasn't. It wasn't the same. So
yeah, and you see that sometimes that the Florida Open, I always like to point out, like I finished with the GMs, except for Max Michel and JJ Racaza, who finished 20% above everybody else.
yeah. So I think by and large, when people want to say the classification system is broken, it's imperfect. It's not broken. It really is not. I don't think it's broken. It's imperfect.
Yep.
And
it always will be.
Because it's impossible to make it perfect.
Right. And because at the end of the day,
I think it can be better. Like the Jay Marses of the world, like the analytics guys, the guys that do statistics for a living, like they could make it better 100%.
Right. It can be better, but again, it goes back to this conversation of like, what do you get out of it? And it's like right now, the system gives you your number. You finish close to there. It doesn't really affect your match. Like other than the prize table drawing or getting your like award or whatever, it doesn't negate your ability to go to a certain match or something like that.
Right.
So I think people like to complain because people like to complain, but yeah, there is no perfect system. And
I think most people who complain are people who perform poorly in classifiers or they're not as good as they think they are.
Correct. And
I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but
right. Well, and maybe they're people who who don't travel enough to compete against like high level guys. Like I'm blessed to have Lane and Cody and that caliber of shooter that I literally compare myself to at every match. And so I know where I'm sitting in that realm versus someone, the Alliance Nebraska club, their highest dude's a B-class shooter. And so he's like, I don't know, like this is just what we do. So yeah, I think people overfocus on it because if you get into like I'll use a quick analogy from the jiu-jitsu world is like a blue belt from one gym and a blue belt from another gym can be completely different skill levels.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Yeah. And like I saw a post today by some guy who's like, I don't know if I deserve this blue belt. And everyone in the comment, and then he like explained that he's been doing jiu-jitsu on and off for 2 years and he wrestled in high school for 4 years. And they're like, you've been grappling for 6 years. Why do you not think you deserve this? Like, what the fuck? And he's like, well, I guess. And then you got other guys who are like, I've been here for 3 months and I don't have my blue belt yet. Like, this is bullshit. and you're like, yeah, like there's the different mindsets and like so yeah, people overfocus on it. The system works relatively well for how little effort we put into it. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Other things we could talk about that. So I'm scrolling through Instagram this morning. For the record, this episode is recorded last Thursday night, October 10th, because I was going to be out of town and we wouldn't have time to record for that. So, on the morning this was recorded, I'm going through Instagram and I see a meme by Tanfo Timmy. And it's about I don't remember what it was, but I just remember going, it was a very, very inside joke. And I'm very, very confused. And let me find it here quick. When another shooter is very good and you're not, but you're the RO. Well, now you're DQ'd. And somebody had a comment that said, I love inside jokes too. Hope to be part of one someday. But he was very quick to say, he tagged Brantley Merriam in the post. So if you clicked on it, you would definitely find the context. So Brantley Merriam, he's a very good shooter. Yep. He was like top 5 at CO Nats this year, wasn't he?
Yeah,
something like that.
I want to say it was like second or third or something.
Yeah, he was way the hell up there. I didn't go look.
With the Glockenspiel.
Yeah, he's very good. And there's a video from Georgia State last weekend, and him getting DQ'd. And even when you just watch the raw first third-person video in what he posted, I'm like, where's the DQ?
Yeah, I watched it without sound the first time, and I was like, I'm confused what's going on.
I never even heard the stop. Apparently my hearing is complete dog shit because I never heard stop. I guess it's in there.
He cut the video in such a way that you have to go through like 2 or 3 of the cuts of his footage, because he goes from his from third person to his hat cam to his like 360 camera up front or something, and so it's like it bounces, but eventually you do hear him yell stop. Because they claim that he broke the 180 as he was exiting the position. But looking, I mean, like Andy said, even watching the third party video, I was like, yeah, that maybe was a little close. And then I watched the first person video. I'm like, that wasn't close in any way, shape, or form. Like he was at like 165.
I didn't think it was close in any way, shape, or form in the third person video.
Yeah. And so,
and I'm not even talking about because he had a downrange camera as well. Yeah. But no, the one taken from the uprange position, like without, I didn't see it. Now, the thing I want to say first before we talk about the rest of this is I don't like shitting on ROs who make a bad call. They have to make a call in the moment. Boom. Sometimes ROs, when they're ROing really good shooters, fuck up.
Right.
Like they can't see fast enough to see everything correctly.
Right. And you like, if you aren't used to being around them, like I don't know that this RO, whatever. But if you're not used to being around high level shooters, you can get nervous ROing them. Like it can fuck with your head a little bit.
Oh, for sure. But I want to preface this because one of the things Brantley posted in his post, and he emailed the entire board basically everything in the post, was that he wants this guy's RO certification pulled. And I'm no, that's ridiculous. If there was some confrontation afterwards that got out of hand, that's different. But shitty calls happen. They just do.
I think, well, from the way I read it, it's more, he's more claiming the state made or the changing of story once the RM was present.
Even if that's the case, like it's become a thing now, and the guy gets wound up. I'm not gonna shit on this RO, okay? Right. Unless he was a dick.
And there's a reason why eyewitness testimony is the worst evidence you can give, because humans are not good we don't present information well, especially like observed information, and especially when it gets into like a confrontational, well, I don't want to be wrong, we all naturally get defensive. Like it doesn't matter how God like you are, we all get defensive
100%.
And so going back to it,
okay, I just want to put that to bed. Like, I'm not in favor of this RO losing a certification or shitting on the RO in any way. Bad calls happen. That's a separate issue. The thing that is more of an issue, and I got several messages and emails from other members of Area 3 today, that video should be allowed. Of course it should be. 100% it should be allowed. The fact that it is in the rules that it cannot be allowed to overturn a call or be used in arbitration is ridiculous in the 21st century.
It feels like an old rule from like the 90s or early 2000s that just didn't ever get replaced, it's
not. It's actually relatively new. I think it was put in. There was no rule around it, and it was always just no. I don't know how old the rule is. I couldn't say how.
Because it's always been a rule since I've been shooting since 2017. So I just assumed it has been the rule.
I think it's relatively new.
Okay.
Because not everybody was carrying an HD camera around with them until about 2010. And so I think it's a relatively new rule. It probably predates you and me participating in the sport, but
and to give an example of this actually, being a thing in the hit factor rule book that we use for the Cornhusker Classic, video evidence is allowed. And one of my buddy Mark accidentally tried to reload going backwards, and he forgot about that he was shooting a match or something. I don't know. I love you, Mark. But and mad respect for the ROs. That they called it, and everyone there knew it. Everyone was like, "Yep, nope, 100%." But I think it was me or some was like, "Hey, like we have it on video. Like let's watch it. Like let's double check." And the RO was like, "Hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like I want to be wrong. I don't want to kick you out of this match. I would prefer that I'm wrong and we just reshoot you." So they started running the next shooter. We pulled the video up on because it takes 6 seconds, and he clearly was at like 225. We were on bay 4 and he was pointing at the safety table. Like it was not close.
So
but it was confirmation. It was confirmation that, hey, that happened.
Now, if there is I think the number one thing video should be allowed for is DQs. Because it's going to be an immediate, okay, let's look at the video. And there's no one who's not going to hope that there's some evidence in the video. Just because there's video, though, I want to be very, very, very clear about this. Just because you have video of something you think is not a DQ does not mean that it is actually conclusive evidence that was not a DQ.
Correct.
Now, I will be 100% honest. I've been sent a bunch of videos, and this predates, and I've seen them on Instagram when people are all pissed off about, I got jobbed on a DQ. Every video I have seen up until Brantley Merriam was not evidence of a non-DQ. It was evidence of a DQ.
Yep.
I could find the frame where it happened.
Yeah.
A few years ago, there was a guy with an uprange draw, and it went wild. And I'm like, I was like the one guy who was like, I don't know, it looks like a DQ to me.
Yep.
His hips are uprange, and his elbow comes up when they're pointed uprange.
Yep.
And I was mistaken about the rule. I thought it was hips. It's actually front of holster, but front of the holster is where the sights are. Yeah. Okay. Even if you're carrying appendix. If you didn't see that article in, I don't know if it was in the magazine or the newsletter, if you're carrying appendix, you have to be very careful. And Brantley was shooting appendix.
And so that's where I thought the DQ came from.
And I thought it was going to be too, but it wasn't. It came from shooting at a target.
And to your point, there was a big hubbubaloo like 2 years ago, maybe it was a year ago. Hunter Constantine posted a video, and he got DQ'd at like the Wyoming section or something like that, Governor's Cup. And like the view of the video, initially you're like, oh yeah, no, I don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's right. And then someone went, oh, you don't understand the perspective of the video. Like we're looking at an angle, and someone pointed out that one of the fault lines was the 180. Like it lined up with the 180 of the berm, and the muzzle was clearly past that. Yeah. And everyone, again, the witches crew came out like, that RO needs to be thrown out of the thing, and he's notching his belt and da. And then like afterwards, like, no, he made a reasonable call, and he was correct that was a technically unsafe action. So it will create another level of analysis, but I'm not against it because it's more information to make the right decision.
And if you were to ask Troy about this, he is against it because, well, it's not always conclusive. Well, of course not. If it's not conclusive, then it can't be used. Like, in order for it to overturn, it must be conclusive. If you're shooting from directly, 100% uprange of the shooter, okay, you're at 0. Would that be 0? Yeah, that would be 0. Yep. You're 0 degrees behind them, okay? And the RO is in a position to see the muzzle is at 185.
Right.
You can't see that from the camera in the back.
Right.
You cannot. So when you post the video and you're like, I got proof this wasn't a DQ. No, you don't. You don't have proof of a DQ or a non-DQ. You have nothing. And
that can also be the case because that happened at my club where this was, anyways, where a guy had the 360 camera, but it was so not clear on him because it was at the front of the bay and he was at the back of the bay or whatever. And he sent it to me. He goes, I can't believe I got DQ'd. I go, dude, here's my hack cam video. My hack cam, like the target was on the 175 and this dude was trying to clear malfunction in the port. And I'm like, bro, if you even like jerked your hand a little bit, you were past the 180.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I guess seeing it from that perspective. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like
you really have to. And here's the thing. I will agree that if someone uses video, it should probably, now when it comes to club matches, it's going to be a little bit of a free-for-all because the range master is usually the match director. At least it is at the clubs around me. Yep. And some match directors are really good on the rules and some are not. And but it's a matter of being able to understand the angles and being able to eliminate things. When you're standing on the bay and you can reference, I'm literally standing here on the stage going back to video of someone who shot it, and I can see, you can look at a couple of different landmarks. Okay, was it there? Now, like I said, if it's not 100% conclusive, it doesn't overturn a DQ. I don't think it should.
Nope.
It needs to be 100% irrefutable like Brantley Merriam's video was.
Right. And there's a part of me that I think it's written in the Hit Factor rulebook, but the wording of it is video can be used for the benefit of the shooter. And so that's put in there because one of the other things was, okay, let's say I'm using, cell phone, blah, 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 and this person's arguing, I didn't DQ, and they're like, oh, wait, yeah, you didn't DQ, but you had 3 foot faults, and we didn't call those, so we're going to call those on you. Like,
that's not what the petition or that wasn't the part of the call we're talking about.
I'm
talking about the 3 foot faults are not what we're talking about. Right. I agree 100%. Like, we're not going to go back and analyze the whole video for any little thing we can get them on.
Right. And so I just wanted to put that little thing
by
in
the
there.
way, when the NFL, when they review a touchdown call and it's like a scrum at the goal line, they don't start attacking on holding penalties.
Right. Exactly.
That's not a thing that happens.
Right. And so it's one of those things I think needs to be written down, like you said, because you're going to have random people implementing the rule at local matches just to make sure. But going back to Brantley's video, one of the other things that kind of caught me was the call was so far after the event happened.
I'm fine with that.
So there's a part of me that if it's that blatant of a safety violation, you need to call it when the safety violation is happening. But if it was such a minor one that you took an extra 10 seconds to call it or 5 seconds to call it, it wasn't that big of a safety violation.
I have seen egregious DQs and the RO literally took 3 or 4 seconds to go, did I see what I think I just saw? And I had enough time to think, he's not going to call that? And then they finally go, stop. Oh, they are calling it. Okay. Sometimes it just... I have some perspective on this because I used to be a high school football official, doing varsity. Granted, it's South Dakota. It's not like I'm reffing football in Texas where they're basically Division I college players. But, it's still pretty fast, and there's a lot going on. You're just watching one guy running around with a gun in USPSA. Right. Okay?
There's technically supposed to be 3 of you watching.
Technically, there's at least 2. But it's relatively easy to officiate. My job when I was reffing football, I was the umpire. I was behind the linebackers, about 7 yards off the line of scrimmage, and my job was to watch the line play from guard to guard. Those 3 offensive linemen and anybody that interacts with them. And so you're kind of glancing around, looking at all the stuff, and then maybe out of the corner of your eye, you were watching the left guard, but then the right guard comes out to block a linebacker, and then out of the corner of your eye, you think you see him grab the guy's face mask and shove his head straight back. And you kind of start looking, and you don't actually see that. You feel like you saw it out of the corner of your eye, but by the time your eyes get there, it's not happening. Did I see that or not?
Right.
And you actually have to kind of, while you continue watching the play, think about, did I see what I think I saw? Well, that guy's head definitely went backwards, and that guy's hand was definitely in his face. Yeah, I'm going to throw the flag. You know, and sometimes you have to kind of take a second, like, where was that? Was it a thing? Honestly, I'm okay with DQs when the stage is over. I really am. I know that sounds like it's terrible, but if the RO needs a second to kind of think about what he thought he saw, now, honestly, most of the time, if you need till the end of the stage to figure it out, you're not sure.
Right.
You know, I will definitely say that, but
right, and another part of it is because it's an all or nothing in the current form, that you do have to be 100% right, because if you're like they're going to argue, everyone's going to argue that nothing happened. I had a dude shoot a gun go off in his holster while he was holstering, and he was like, "Oh, my bad, safety's on. We're good." And we're like, "We ain't good at all.
No,
like,
you're
fucking
done.
Unload and show clear, motherfucker." And so like everyone's going to argue it, and so I think at least giving the ability to present evidence would not be a negative thing. It, like you said, if the evidence is inconclusive, it's inconclusive.
yeah, then it doesn't get overturned. But
Right, but I do think it would be a net positive, especially with, you know, we at this point we've got drone cameras, we've got 360 boom cameras, we've got hack cams, phone cams, and like one of the arguments that Troy said during my RO class was that, well, maybe not everyone has it. It's like, okay, then you don't have any evidence to present. That's fine. Like that's
your problem.
Right. That does not negate the ability for me to be like, hey, I turned this into a production. Here's 17 camera angles that say I did not do this.
That's the other thing too, is like Brantley's got 3 camera angles to show. Like, if you're going to contest it in the moment, you give me one.
Right.
You know,
and the hack
we're not
cam
going
does
to
all the
take.
work.
We're in the hack cam for the most part, because you can get the rest of the context from, you know, like that target. I don't know if that target was available from Beyond 180. When we set targets for Great Plains, there is not a single target on that match, and you can back me up on this. There's not a single target that you can shoot from beyond the 180 without it going through the wall.
Yep.
Every single time. Not a single target.
Same.
And it's in the rules. It's supposed to be that way.
Right.
Some
right.
people take it too far, and it's like, well, you could turn around 180 degrees and shoot that one in the back. Oh, give me a fucking break.
Right.
Like, we don't need to do that, but...
Right, because and we did the same thing at Cornhusker where, I mean, I remember walking the stages for 3 days beforehand and going, hey, you know, this one's kind of visible. Go get a little wall, block it from being seen, so that, you know, it's at one set. There's no risk of it. So under that rule, like, and technically, I do know that Ben Steger has quoted this rule to reverse a DQ before, that a target was present past the 180, then the stage is in violation of the written rule. So, and the match director reversed it.
I don't think that reverses a DQ. I think he got away with it, but...
Yeah, I mean, yes. Yes, but...
But yeah, I think video should definitely be allowed, but I don't think it's going to fix as many calls as most shooters think it's going to. Like I said, I have seen several videos that they swear up and down is proof that it was not a DQ, and it was not proof that it was not a DQ. It was, most of the time, it was proof that it was a DQ, and they didn't understand the rule. Especially on the uprange draws. That's the big one where it's like, I'm just looking for the elbow. Let me give everybody a tip on uprange draws. Like, if you're like halfway turned around The RO is going to be, and it's an uprange start. The RO is already going to be watching. You have already broadcasted, I'm on the verge of a DQ. The RO is going to be looking for it. You know, I'm not looking for a DQ. I was on Manny Talk Shooting. I don't know if it's out by the time this episode drops, but I recorded with him last night, and I actually asked him, do you look for DQs? And he had to kind of sit and think about it for a minute, like, whoa, wait, what do you mean? I was like, don't overthink the question. Do you look for DQs? And after he thought about it, he goes, no. You just call them when they punch you in the face. Yeah. That's the way they should be called. If you're hunting and pecking for DQ calls as an RO, you're doing it wrong. Like, DQs should be obvious. If it's close, like, you don't know 100%, it is 100% beyond 180, don't call it. Do not. Only call them when you know for sure. Did we beat this dead horse hard enough?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on. What is the worst firearm subreddit, Jeff?
Our firearms. It's a cesspool. It's where the rejects from our guns go.
Now, it sort of depends on how you interpret the word worst.
Correct, because I mean, it and like I don't hang, and there's part of it where I don't hang out on the bad ones because they're so bad I don't want to be associated with them.
Well, like the one that is, I mean, I love it, but it's also the worst is idiots with guns.
Yep.
I mean, it's a great sub, but it's also terrible. Just because the content of it is so terrible. You know, there's a lot of videos of people killing themselves because, oh, look, my gun's not loaded. Dead.
Right.
You know.
And again, it can all depend on what you consider the worst. Like our 2011s, if you want to watch dudes basically jerking themselves off about buying $50,000 to $70,000 worth of handgun that they never shoot and they only take pictures of, go to our 2011. A dude posted like, I think he had 8 Atlases, and none of them even look like they'd seen a holster. Like,
yeah,
and you're like, bro, why do you need 5 different $7,000 2011s with that shoot 9mm and have like dust covers to the end? Like there's literally no difference between them. Like, or people be like, oh, I have a Nighthawk at Infinity and a Staccato XC. Like, which one should I add to my collection next? And you're like, why? Like, what? Do something with them. Or you can get into other realms like RCCW. It's legendary at this point. We help spread its legend of stupid shit that people post there.
But it's not even close to the worst. I don't think.
Okay,
there's a lot of legitimate. I mean, I'm not going to shit on people for asking questions when they don't know. Like, you can't. I think shitting on ignorance is stupid. Like, it's right, like, you're not as smart as and informed as me, so you're a dumbass. Fuck you. No, you're the asshole then.
Right, but RCCW, the whole like pocket dump bullshit where they're like,
yeah, I mean,
here's
that's
my
social media
Rolex
bullshit. Yeah, it's cringy, but whatever.
And so it's not for high quality content. It's not number one. But
is anything on Reddit high quality content?
Our guns is fairly decent because it's heavily moderated.
Well, there's that, I guess.
But what would you consider the worst subreddit?
Firearm subreddit? I mean, I knew you would have a strong opinion, so that's why I was kind of like, what's the worst? That was sort of what I was thinking. I honestly don't live there enough to really give an honest answer. Like right now I'm looking at our gun, not guns, gun.
Yeah.
There's only like 24,000 people in that one.
Right. And then you can get into like, in-range TV is kind of interesting for its gun culture. Our liberal guns can be
they have a Reddit.
Yep.
Honestly, okay, is it bad that I'm like, I've heard of in-range TV, but I don't really understand what it is. Is it like a YouTube channel? Or are they like gun reviewers? Like, what are they?
Okay, so in-range TV, when it first started, it was Ian from Forgotten Weapons and this guy named Carl. And they did this super interesting thing where Carl put on these like rifle matches, or they're 2-gun matches. So they're rifle pistol, no shotgun. And they're very simple. So it's like, hey, go to this position, shoot these 3 plates, go to this next position, shoot these 3 plates, go to the next position, shoot the same 3 plates. So it's like, and so what Ian and Carl started doing is, because they're history nerds, they're like, hey, what worked better, a Lee Enfield or an M1 Garand? And so Carl would run the Enfield and Ian would run the Garand, and they'd compare their times, and it was interesting. And so they started off that, and then they became a little more normal, like gun tubery, but they've since had a falling out, and now Carl's down his own path and Ian is not associated with it anymore. And they do gun reviews, but they're like, he's really big into like Old West stuff. So he does Old West gun reviews. He does tactical LARPing stuff. He does like night vision reviews and shit like that. And then they put on these matches called Brutality, where it's like throw a kettlebell and then shoot from where the kettlebell landed, get up, throw kettlebell, do this for 50 yards.
Are they the ones that started it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So the Brutality matches are basically a big version of what Carl was running in Arizona. So is it Rio Salado? That's
Phoenix area.
That's Phoenix. So it's not that one. It's
very close to the airport I'm flying into, by the way.
Yeah. They do a match. Hunter Constantine posts videos from the same range, so it's whatever range that is. And so Carl would just took the stages that he would do there and turned it into a big match. And they've tried kind of spreading it and making it bigger, and it creates an interesting like they have a different mindset towards shooting than I would say we do, and so they have a lot of newbies that make for strange conversations.
Yeah. I think the worst gun related sub on Reddit is r/NASS.
I blame Steven.
Me too. 100%. That's our Reddit page, by the way. Or community, or whatever it's called. Anyway. Okay. Now, on that topic, dumb internet arguments Jeff got into.
Yeah. So, I had forgotten about our in-range because I don't go to it that often, because it's not very high quality information for me at least. But this question popped up and I was like, okay, it's worth thinking about for 20 seconds. Has anyone ever thought of setting up a paintball marker, so the paintball gun, to shoot back at competitors during a shooting competition? And the gist of it is he wants a few remote operated paintball guns with cameras attached and remotely worked by either remote operators or simple reaction program.
It should just be like they break a beam and it starts shooting at them.
Right. Something along those lines. And so I thought about it and I was like, that's not going to work.
Why not?
So, okay. So
that kind of sounds like a fun idea.
Right. Okay. So
not for USPSA, but like an Outlaw 3-gun match. That sounds fun.
Well, so the first thing is the logistics popped into my head. So, you got to buy remote weapon stations for paintball guns, and you got to get the paintball guns and the paintballs and the paintball masks.
Yeah. There's that whole getting shot in the face with a paintball.
Yep.
Yeah.
So with that, you have to have an operator for every one of the guns. So if you want match equity, you need the same people operating them the whole time. So, you get 2 or 4 like dedicated dudes running these things. Then you need a Mr. Fix-It just for those.
Oh yeah.
Because they're complicated. And if you have them sitting on top of the berm, because the guy kind of wanted them in like an elevated position, I was like, you can't be on top of the berm. Like,
right.
I don't care what range you're at. So so that creates the complexity of it. Because if they go down, you got to throw out the entire stage, and then it creates a safety hazard. So like, most people, I mean, we're used to being around fairly serious USPSA people. I think if we started getting pelted with paintballs, we'd be annoyed, but we'd be safe. But if you get a newbie who's like, oh man, I'm going to test my skills, let's go, and he starts getting shot with paintballs, I don't really want him like, flailing around with a rifle doing dumb shit. So that was kind of those were my initial reactions to it was just the logistics make it complicated. But then you also get into like how. So I asked the question. I'm like, I said it doesn't really test the skill. And the guy goes, "That's not true. It's testing cover and concealment." And I said, "How do you judge using cover and concealment?" And like, how do I prevent the paintballers if it's a remote operated system? And they know how you're going to run the stage. How do I prevent them from just sitting there and waiting for you to go to a position you must go to and just lighting you the fuck up?
Yeah.
Because, and like, are you losing points every time you get hit? And so another thing is like, so if you study tactical shit, cover is meant to prevent you from getting shot. If you need to take cover while getting shot at, you are supposed to stay behind the cover until you can shoot back and make the thing stop shooting at you. But you can't do that. So you're not getting anything out of this in my opinion. So I was trying to bring these up, and the hilarious response I got was, "Oh, that's right. You're a USPSA guy. Have a good day."
Yeah. I'm discounting you because
I'm one of them.
You're one of those people.
And the hilarious thing is, I went back and reread through it, and so there's two guys now associated with In Range. One's called Sinister Rifleman, and then Carl. Sinister Rifleman commented and he said, "Yeah, it's been done at this match called Tiger Valley." He said, "I don't feel it added enough value to the match to be worth the hassle." They asked, were there any safety issues? He said no, but Tiger Valley is a very kind of like high level event. It's not, you don't go there for your first match.
Oh, okay.
And then Carl also commented, because he was at the same match. He said it provided no true value, was hard to coordinate, and sounds way more interesting than it is in reality. They did a force run we did run force on force stages with Miles gear at Woodland Brutality. So they had the laser scoring thing, basically like big laser tag. And so that could be another way to do it. But again, how do you run it as a match?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of proud of the fact that I sort of try to pick arguments on Reddit, just trolling a little. I'm not even trolling. I'm actually saying things I actually think. Like there was a guy who posted before we recorded tonight. There was a guy that posted in the Glock subreddit about he got a suppressor and now he doesn't want to buy another set of $100 iron sights because they're not tall enough to see over the suppressor. And the suppressor is not that big. It's not a big, giant, fat suppressor. It's going to be like his irons are going to be barely below the level of the can.
Right.
But you just put that on the target, where that eighth of an inch would be that you're not seeing anymore. Well, it's still on the plate. Right. Hold those aligned sights on the center of the plate and press the trigger. Like, it's not rocket science. And I literally even said something as controversial as suppressor height sights are dumb. And like, I'm not getting any retort back from any of these yahoos. So I'm kind of upset by it, but
yeah. And that's one of the things is like, I don't try to troll. I try to answer questions, and I'm just an asshole.
I try to answer questions that are a troll. Right. I've seen a couple in CCW. There's been a couple of posts that it's like 26-year-old female. I don't know anything about guns. I want to get one for self-defense. I have no idea which one to get. And of course, all these fucking dipshits are saying, oh, you got to get a P365, get a little tiny gun, little lady, because, you know, you're a little tiny girl brain and your little tiny girl hand, because that's what they're thinking, because they're fucking idiots. Most of the time, that's wrong. For a first gun, a little tiny carry gun is the wrong gun to get. Well,
Right.
you can't conceal it. Well, is this a beginner skill? No.
Shouldn't be.
Carrying a loaded firearm is not a beginner thing to do.
Right.
This is, you know, so this is a thing once you're down the road a ways before
Right.
you start putting loaded guns in your pants.
Right.
So,
And I always also love like, oh, I'll get an AR-15. And you're like, yeah, someone's first adventure into guns who's terrified of them. Let's give them a very loud one. That will 100% convince them to keep doing this.
But what I meant to say was I actually private messaged people on Reddit, like these two women that posted recently, and just said, most of the advice you're getting in here is actually not good.
Yep.
Ignore it. I'm not telling you the one gun you should get, but what you should do is find a shooting range near you that offers rentals and try little guns and try big guns. And I think you'll find if you can get some coaching on how to properly grip a gun, you're going to like the big gun better than the small gun. Unless you have baby doll hands, then the smaller guns are actually, because I do occasionally have women who are brand new to shooting and they'll like the Shield Plus way more than a Glock 19 because they can reach the trigger a lot easier.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
so they will actually, after having shot both, they'll actually prefer the smaller gun. But I would say probably 90% prefer the bigger gun. Anyway.
Right.
What's next on the rundown here? Oh, well, the top 10, this is from, well, let's go to the Reddit. By the way, patreon.com/notanothershootingshow. $3.57 a month, $3.57 a month. You get an extra episode every single week. By the way, if you subscribe when you're on Apple, I don't care if you do, but we'll see a lot more of that 357 if you don't subscribe on Apple. Just go to patreon.com/notanothershootingshow because Apple sucks and they're going to take 40% of that. So I had no idea they are one hell of a racket, Apple.
Yeah,
Jesus. They have, you know, poor children in China making their phones, and then they take 40% of anything sold on their platform. Like, good hell. Anyway, subscribe to our Patreon if you would. We appreciate that. MW Activewear, best jerseys you can buy, and our Reddit, r/NAS. The top 10 worst excuses in the last few years you've had from competitors unwilling to help with the match. They said, I recently attempted to hand a tablet to a guy, and he did surrender pose and said, sorry, I just can't work with one of those things. I agreed since touchscreen technology is quite new. That's sarcasm. It's not a thing I run into at my clubs locally.
I do.
I know you do.
So my favorite one was, how will that benefit me? That one is legendary. Lane said that to Todd when he asked him if he would RO the ROs. Another one.
Was he serious or was he trying to be funny?
Yes. No, he was 100% serious. It was quite funny. I had someone at a non-USPSA match when I was ROing and I was the next shooter, and this person was in my RO class, and I was like, oh, hey, you're in my RO class. Here's the timer. And he goes, I never passed my RO, sir. I said, neither do I, but we're not shooting a USPSA match, so why the fuck does that matter? And he was like, no, and continued to sit in his lawn chair. And I was like, I want to kick you right now. I really want to hurt you. I've definitely had the like, sorry, I can't really see the tablet. And I'm like, but you could see your sights. Like I don't know how I don't know how a tablet is that much harder. Let's see. I've had several be like, "Oh, I'm like nervous about ROing like the high level shooters." And I'm like, "It's the same as the low level shooters. They
They're
just do things
actually
faster."
easier to RO.
Yep. Nothing bad will happen. It'll be fine.
And if they drop a loaded gun, that's a really easy call. Like, you just say stop, unload and show clear.
Let's see. What's some other fun excuses?
I've never, it's just not a thing where I live. Everybody helps out as much as possible. We actually had it wasn't really controversy, but when I shot our club match here last weekend, I've come around to, it was at the Sioux Falls Practical Shooters Club where I cut my teeth on practical shooting. And you have got me converted to like, hey, if you got people that know what they're doing, have them just call out the scores at a club match. Like, let's get this going. And that was happening. The problem was the guy running the tablet was not keeping up, and it got screwed up. And so there was one guy who was like, let's just do one RO. Well, then we get to a stage where shit's really spread out.
Yep.
And it's the widest bay at that range. And I mean, I wasn't like trying to like, I wasn't even like teasing him about what he said earlier, but I was just like, how about, actually, he said, we gotta split this up because this is taking way too long to score. And I was like, yes, are these a good set for me to grab? Because there were like 4 targets all in a row, but he had to walk like 15 yards to get to them.
Right.
After doing the stuff where the stage typically was ending. So yeah, we just don't run into this problem at my clubs.
And the smaller the club, the less ability there is for this. There's kind of that like everybody has to help or nothing gets done, and everyone's held accountable because everyone can see everybody. Like you can't, hey, I'm not going to do that. Someone else will do that, because you can see everybody and you know that no one else is going to be able to do it because you're the person who has to do it. Whereas like a club like mine where we might have 50, 60 competitors, you can show up late because enough people showed up to put it together.
Yeah.
Or you can leave early, or you can be like, oh, I can't run the tablet. And because there's 6 other people in the squad who at minimum can, press a button or tap the tablet. But also to your point about the yelling to the RO, like it is a learned thing that you kind of have to work as a group to like truly understand. If you've been to a major match and like the scoring RO is actually the one in charge, or the tablet RO is actually the one in charge, where he goes, okay, Jim, you give me those ones.
Yeah, they're the director. I want you to give me scores now.
Right. Yeah. And so he goes, okay, Jim, you got that. Okay, Bob, throw me those ones. All right, Tim, give me those ones.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And we're good. We do it a little chaotic because we're used to working with each other so much that we're just like blah, 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 blah. And we get it done because we're used to it. But like if you're at a club that isn't already doing this, start having the tablet RO be like, okay, person in the front 4 targets, what were those? Cool. Person in the back right targets, what are those? Cool. Other person, what are those? Cool. And then they are kind of directing it at their speed, because then you don't have people talking over people, because that's where it kind of becomes a problem when there's like 2 Alpha Charlie, 2 Alpha. Who just yelled at me? Where was that target from?
Well, and also like, at the club we were at last weekend, not my club, the other club here, they have iPads, and the iPads, for whatever reason, when you're trying to do 2 Alpha or Alpha Charlie, like they just don't want to go in. I don't know if it was just the iPad we had, and I couldn't tap like on the rectangle. I had to tap like halfway down the rectangle, and then they would go in the right spot. It was really annoying.
That's bad.
But yeah, and part of the problem too was the tablet RO was like it's the low pressure job. Like, yeah, I'll help out because I can tap a tablet, but
Right.
it is still really important. And the thing I'm like, if you're running the tablet, you have to yell them back, and do not yell back the score or the time until you are done putting it in.
Correct.
If you're saying 2 alpha and you're having trouble after you already did it, the RO thinks you got it. But you don't have it. You're still trying to type it in.
Right.
So
And
do not
also-
call back until it's in the tablet.
And don't be afraid to say, everyone stop.
Stop!
I'm catching up. Blah, blah, blah. What were
Yeah.
the last 3 called? This, cool. All right, there's 4 targets left. Cool. Okay, let's go.
Okay. I would like to thank Steven for posting in our Reddit, "Know your place, trash." He put a bully laughing so hard they're crying emoji on top of a screenshot of me as the number 1 A-class limited optics shooter in USPSA after I thought I made master and I goofed up a number and didn't make master. By the way, I'm gonna put a classifier in the night match here in a couple weeks, and it's I'm gonna have to do it with my Glock with a light
Yep.
on it. Now that stage, if we run a classifier, that stage will be lit up. That will not be you have to turn on a light to shoot the classifier. It will be lit up.
Will that ruin the ambiance?
What do you mean?
Well, because some of the fun of the dark match is that it's everywhere is dark.
This is about me. This is 100% selfish. I've never done a classifier at the night match, and I'm actually probably going to run one of those 23s that never counted in my classification. I'll admit I'm doing it selfishly because it's not a great match to do a classifier, but if we're doing a classifier, those are meant to be shot in the daytime, so it'll be in the daytime.
Yep.
It'll be lit up. So, and it's going to be a simple one, so we don't have to like put floodlights everywhere. You know, there are many classifiers that are pretty simple if you just have like 1 or 2 lights. So it'll be simple. I just need a 77% so I can make master before the end of the year because the season's almost over and it's almost hunting season. So, okay, what was the other one we had? How many clubs out there do group buys on things like primers, bullets, targets, etc.? Is there actually an advantage to this financially from vendors? Well, with the blue bullets, there absolutely is.
Yep.
I'm about to get
8%.
What?
Is it an extra like 8%?
Yeah, it's like 18. Is it an 18%?
Well, I think the normal like you're buying a lot for yourself is like 10%, and then if you do like a group bulk buy, you get an extra 8%
With like a minimum 100,000
bullet
bullet order.
Which depending on the size of your club, well, they're nice enough at now because I ran the last bullet order my club did, and all you do is you send them the number, so you send them one check with the money, and then you send them a spreadsheet with everyone's order, like
Their
name.
individual orders.
Yep. And so they just ship off all the individual orders because the way it used to be was it had to be local. Well, it didn't have to be local, but it had to be like they were shipping it to one place, and then that person's job was to then distribute them to everybody.
And they're the ones with the infrastructure to actually do all the shipping and deal with that. So I'm glad they did switch to that. But no, I've got bullets inbound right now from the Blue Bullets on a group buy.
Yep.
So
I've done the primer.
There's just got to
one.
be somebody who's willing to do it.
And that's what it comes down to is the organization of it and like who has the contact. So like I ordered like 30,000 primers in January of 2020.
Just in time.
I've never been so happy to buy a shit ton of something because they were like $27 a box or $24 a box. So like those were glorious days.
I used to be able to get them wholesale for like 23.
Yep. Yeah. And so
and now I'm lucky if I can get them for 60.
Yep. And so it's finding that contact and then finding the person willing to put it together, because organizing people at any time is fucking annoying. And people do everything they can to piss you the fuck off. I had a dude. So when I did the bullet order, I was like, hey guys, say we're going on a trip to Alaska together, because Venmo and PayPal and stuff don't like gun transactions. Okay, bullets are close enough to gun transactions that I wasn't going to mess with it. So I was like, hey dude, put in there for Alaska trip. Easy enough. And 19 out of 20 guys understood the assignment. The 20th guy, who works for NASA, was like, what are you doing with this money? You joining ISIS? And I'm like, God damn it. Do you have to be...
He was doing a bullet order?
Yes. And I was like, bro, what the fuck? He's like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I'm like, you have probably one of the highest security clearances in the country. Why the fuck wouldn't you think about this?
Oh my God.
So, yes, clubs do it.
Smart people do really dumb shit, though.
Right. And so it's like, I would love to do group buys. Like, there's a part of me that wants to see if we can get like 10 or 12 fucking Shadow 2s sent to Vince to get milled and like dots mounted and just like be done with the whole process and see if that would actually be worth it. But that would get really fucking complicated.
And something like that, when it's a service, I think that's very different. You know, if you're buying a thing that they already have it. It's just you're buying so much, they're going to give you a bigger discount.
Well, and the discount for me would be the Shadow 2s. Like I would never ask Vince for a discount. It would be seeing if buying 12 Shadow 2s or whatever hit that level where they're like, yeah, we'll take $50 or $100.
Margin on guns is not real big.
And that's another part that people need to be aware of, is it's like
things have different margins.
Things do have different margins, and people are like, oh, like, I mean, you're probably making a killing, and you're like, nope. Like, I think I was told that the average store makes like $30 on a Glock or something like that. Like, it's not that much.
No. You're doing great if you get like 15%. There's a gun store in my town, little tiny shop. He started his FFL out of his basement, and he marks up everything in the store is marked up. It's just a flat. It's either 12 or 17%. I can't remember what it is, what his markup is.
Yep.
And he includes this. That's the cool thing in his store, is he includes the sale tax in the price. So that price that you see is out the door.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Instead of having to like forget about, oh, when I buy $1,000 gun, that means I'm going to be paying another $60. Shit.
Yep. The Targets one is actually a really good one to do a group buy on, because they're just massive.
They're big and they're heavy.
Yep. So
you can save a shitload of money when you buy a lot of those.
Yeah. So, because I know in Iowa section, they at least used to have a Target vendor that
they would order a pallet.
Yeah. They would order a pallet for themselves. And then I remember, because I ordered Targets from them, like the dude brought like another trailer full of Targets, and they were like, 40 cents a unit versus like $1 a unit.
Yeah.
Because it's the shipping that eats the cost on those.
Yeah. The shipping is terrible on Targets. So if you can make the shipping cheaper, or I remember we were talking about doing it, but then that was about the time CHL came along and made buying Targets cheaper. I was going to drive up to Minneapolis to go to Action Target and just pick them up there.
Yeah.
But it turns out they didn't have any there at the time I wanted to do it. So,
oops.
And theirs are not even close to the cheapest anymore. I haven't even looked in so long. But
so yeah, it boils down to, is there someone willing to deal with the headache of doing it, can put that big number together in their bank account or on their credit card to get the transaction started, and then like coordinate everybody getting their thing. It's a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah. I
will only ever do it for bullets again. I doubt we're going to see primers for any fucking good prices.
No. I was just looking to see if I can get any 507 comps. Do a group buy on some 507 comps, but my distributor's still out of... Well, they have the Ronin ones. the ones that Stager's
Jesus.
making fun of right now, they cost more. They cost like $20 more wholesale.
To have the Ronin.
To have the dumb Ronin
laser,
thing on it, yeah.
laser etched on
Yeah. It's so fucking stupid.
And you know those are going to sell so amazing to the Call of Duty crowd.
Oh my
It's
God.
like,
It's so dumb. But no, let me just see what I can get primers for. And I'm not even trying to flex here because, I mean, yeah, I do. The problem with primers is, though, I'm not home when they're going to arrive, so I have to actually pay to have someone receive them.
that's annoying.
Because there's like a local store in town where, I have to log in. Yeah. Because they don't sell to the general public, so they don't publish the prices publicly. I'm letting the cat out of the bag. Oh, they dropped prices a little bit. Around $63 a box for 1,000.
Okay.
Depending on, like, for small pistol standard. Yeah,
The
around
only ones that
63,
matter.
64. Now that I'm shooting CZ, I'm not even that drunk. Now that I'm shooting CZs again, hammer-fired guns, the last batch of ammo I loaded was all CCI primers, and they're pretty hard, but they all go off. I don't have to worry about making sure I mash them in like I did with the Glock. So I'm kind of back on the CCI primer train, and most people don't like those because they're so hard, but they feed through my press very well.
I love CCI.
I do too. They just, if I didn't mash them all the way down, then it's just like slightly high, then the striker hits it and it just pushes it in more. It doesn't actually ignite because they're so fucking hard. But hammer-fired guns, though, as long as you don't have them super light springs, that's what the extended firing pin's for. I suck at shooting. I'm getting an extended firing pin. That'll make me better. No, if you want to get better, I've already said this. If you want to get better at shooting, USPSA, stop practicing and buy a heavy gun.
Correct. And on that note,
I don't actually believe that, but it's kind of true for me.
it's been working.
I mean, I've gotten away with it, but like I did a lot of practice for a lot of years. And I got confidence from a gun that's a lot easier to shoot. That's the difference. If you're new, that won't help you. You'll still suck like I did when I originally bought my tac sport. I had no idea what I was doing. I was terrible, and it did not help me. I would have been better off with the Glock 35. Yep. Did we get through everything? Are we done?
I think so.
Okay. Well, let's call it there. Thank you so much for listening. Patreon.com/NotAnotherShootingShow. $3.57 a month. You get an extra show every single week. He is Jeff King. I'm Andy Erickson. This is Not Another Shooting Show.